Hey everyone, and welcome to 3D6 Down the Line, the most criminally underwatched actual play series on the internet. This is episode 0 of our brand new campaign. We are going to be starting a campaign of Mythic Bastionland by Chris McDowall and Bastionland Press. We are super excited. We have a full house today. My name is John. I will be the referee for the campaign, and going around the horn we have...
Hi, I'm Mike, and I don't have another name yet.
Hi, I'm David.
Hi, everybody. I'm Matt.
Everyone, I am Ted.
Okay, so just to get things started, we know that likely a lot of you may be tuning in for the first time and have never watched or listened to us before. So real quick introduction, we are 3D6 Down the Line. We are an actual play group. We are comprised of some 5 of us. We are all very old friends. We have all been playing together for a very, very long time, some of us for over 2 decades. And we have already published a few campaigns. We did a original campaign using old school essentials with Dolmenwood. We have done our Pièce de Résistance, which is a 114 episode long campaign of running through the mega dungeon, the halls of Ardent Vul. We have done a 24 episode long descent into Gradient Descent using Mothership, sci-fi horror RPG, which is a lot of fun. And we also do a series of short little one-offs that we like to call amuse-bouche. We've tackled Shadow Dark a number of times, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Other Strangeness. We've done Pirate Borg, and most recently we did Cairn. And then also on our Patreon, we have a Patreon exclusive campaign for paying subscribers, which is our Return to Dolmenwood campaign using the actual Dolmenwood TTRPG rules. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, please go check out our Patreon and subscribe. You get a lot of extra cool benefits, including access to secret channels on our Discord. And regardless, it would really help if you would like and subscribe on YouTube, comment, leave reviews on Apple Podcasts, and comment on Spotify as well would be super, super helpful. All right, and thanks straight up off the bat to our one and only David, who has done all of the beautiful overlay art, graphics, and animations that you see before you on the screen if you are watching. If you're not watching, you really should. Links to his portfolio can be found in the description below. Give him a like and a follow. Would be wonderful. And okay, let's get things started. We are going to be playing Mythic Bastionland, which is the second in Chris McDowall's Bastionland series, if you don't count Into the Odd, which was the system that he made that inspired the systems of Bastionland. So the first was Electric Bastionland. This one's Mythic Bastionland, and he is currently developing Intergalactic Bastionland. Mythic Bastionland is a Arthurian myth-inspired rules-light RPG, where the players are going to be embodying noble knights, all of them, exploring a surreal wilderness, encountering strange myths, and seeking glory. That's the general feel of the game. It was written by Chris McDowall. All the art in the rulebook is right here, if you can see it, was done by Alec Sorensen, and it is a masterpiece. There are lots and lots of beautiful illustrations, and they're well worth a purchase. I want to send out a special thank you to Chris McDowall for giving us permission to display the imagery and art from the book. Really do appreciate it. And definitely check below in the description for links to Chris's blog and to links to where you can purchase the game itself. All right, so for session 0, as is the case for most of our session 0s, I really hope that all of you out there like the sound of my voice because this is going to be a very John-heavy episode. So crack yourself a beer.
I'm out.
Kick back.
Yeah, my mom won't be listening. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, Matt's mom, you might want to tune out right now. Matt's mom is sorely angry at the fact that I do dominate a lot of the conversation in these games because I run most of them.
I thought John always talks so much.
That's why Matt's mom really appreciated the Cairn and Moose Bush, because that was all
she told me she watched like 15 minutes of that one.
Whoa, that counts.
Thanks,
that counts as a view.
Good job, Mom.
Not
all
too
right.
shabby, if I must say so myself.
So let's give a brief explanation of what Mythic Bastionland is. So I'm doing this obviously for the community out there who may not be as familiar with it, but also for you, for the players as well. Little background for us as a group and our experience with Mythic Bastionland. The first time that we all experienced it as play, I actually ran a little one-shot for them at a couple Gary Cons ago, a couple years ago, way before Quinn's Quest review. I just want to say we liked it before it was cool. And we really, really enjoyed it. And since then, all of us, I believe, separately at cons have experienced it one way or the other as a player as well, but all in short little one-shots, except for Ted, who's shaking his head. So Ted is a newbie. We all have experience with it. I, of course, have done a ton of reading and watching blogs and podcasts and things like that. But we are all basically going to be experiencing a campaign of Mythic Bastionland for the very first time. None of us are experts. We're going to work through the game as we play it. So you're going to see all of the hiccups and problems and worrying over rules and interpretations and all that kind of stuff that you would at your very own table if you were new to the game as well. That's kind of who we are. This is not a performance-based actual play. You're actually seeing real actual play. So Mythic Bastionland is loosely, it's what's known as a capsule game, which is the hot new shit in TTRPGs nowadays. It's actually not that new, but everyone likes a label. So it's loosely what's called a capsule game. And the definition of a capsule game is nebulous, but what I kind of pulled together, at least how it applies to Mythic Bastionland, is certain elements they're usually predefined characters. That's usually a big part of it. There's a bespoke set of rules that enforce the expected style of play. There's not a lot of variance in what the expected style of play is. And there is a sense of finality to the game. There is an actual end point to most games of Mythic Bastionland and to most capsule games. If you want other examples of relatively well-known, at least in the indie sphere of capsule games, Lady Blackbird is probably not, I don't know if it's the progenitor, but it's probably like the most well-known, I guess. Eat the Reich is definitely a capsule game. And a little known game, but that holds a lot of love for us here at 3D6 DTL, Dallas, the role-playing game, is a capsule game. Don't add me.
Of course.
So buy-in is super important in capsule games and very, very important in Mythic Bastionland. If you try to shoehorn in elements of other games, that's usually going to lead to frustration. Okay? We should be aware of that as players. We came across a little bit of that in the beginning of our Mothership campaign. I think we ironed that out as we kind of got fully more into understanding what that game was going for. But there's a lot. If you just kind of peg Mythic Bastionland as an OSR game and then apply all the things that we have learned from many, many years of OSR play that are D&D adjacent OSR, we're not going to have a great time. A lot of this stuff just does not apply in this game. We're going to go over some of those elements that are not going to be present later. But you don't want to push against the system. You want to lean in as much as possible. And you have to have maximum buy-in for what this game is going to be about. The game is also what would be labeled as an odd-like, as in that it was designed by the author of the original Into the Odd. That's Chris McDowall. Features of odd-likes are that they are the rules are ultra light. The combat without attack rolls is probably what most people know it for. You don't actually roll to hit; you just automatically do damage. And 3 primary stats instead of 6 or more. In this case, in this particular game, those 3 stats are vigor, clarity, and spirit. And odd-like games usually value character utility over complexity, which is very OSR, NSR sort of vibe. Mythic Bastionland is inspired primarily by the romances and legends of King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table. So if you have any sort of exposure to that, whether via any all the different sorts of media, you're probably going to be fine with what we're going for. Of course, the Christian elements of the Arthurian myths are completely absent from Mythic Bastionland. but the mythic feel of King Arthur and his knights are very much present in this. So if you have any experience with Pendragon as a role-playing game, that was a huge influence. We'll go into other influences later. And then at its heart, as far as the method by which you play, this is an exploration hex crawl. We're already doing one right now, which is Dolmenwood, but this one's going to feel a lot different. It's a much more abstract hex crawl with the rules for actually exploring over the land are highly abstracted, and they are tailored to maximize like your exposure to discovering myths and interacting with them and things like that. I've created a realm using the guidelines and tables in the rulebook. I did so. This is not someone else's published setting like Dolmenwood. This is completely made up using all of these spark tables and instructions that are in the rulebook itself. And the setting, so this setting will be something that the players and their characters, importantly, know very little about. Cool. Any questions so far, you guys? Are you good?
No, that makes sense to me.
Everything in line. All right, cool. Yeah, stop me if anything's like, I didn't sign up for this.
Hey, go out of here, John.
Then we'll
John,
break.
you can't.
I think it's too late for that, John.
It's never too late, Ted. If John gives us a reason to troll him, we'll take it. So I warn you, John.
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah, all right. Yeah, just shut up and smile and take it. All right.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Yes, Daddy.
I thought we were playing Pathfinder.
So sorry to lead you astray, but no. All right. So the expected
how do feats work in this game, John? How do feats work in
there are feats in this game, actually.
All right, there's 2 feats on every person, in fact, in this game, and a few toes at that.
We're gonna be fine.
All right, the expected elements of play for this game. So as knights, all of you guys are going to be playing knights, period. That is there is no class. You are all knights. As knights, you have all done one thing in particular, which is you have sworn the oath. So you have sworn the oath. You are going to seek out myths, and through a very simple procedure, you're going to encounter omens that impart clues or flavor about these myths. So I'm not going to, I'm going to be transparent about like what I'm doing, but not to the point where I'm going to be like, I rolled a 3 on the exploration table, which means that you see the next omen in this myth, right? Like, no. It'll be all sort of storytelling, sort of narrative sort of stuff, right? There's going to be a lot of times when you actually, like, I anticipate that a core part of the game will actually be trying to disseminate what is an omen and what is a red herring. Is this actually tied to the myth that we think that we're seeking, or is this some sort of other mystical, weird thing that's just sort of happening in the game that, I think that'll be really, really fun, is this never quite knowing, am I seeking, am I on the right path to find this myth or to resolve this myth? So in resolving the myths, you're going to gain glory. That is an actual mechanic, but also narrative. You're going to gain glory, which will improve your rank and your worthiness. Ultimately, you may be deemed worthy enough by the Seers to undertake the city quest, which is the end game. All right, this is very much the analog for the city quest is very much like the Holy Grail and the Arthurian myths. Okay. So another important element of this game that's going to be very, very different than what we're used to is that time can and should advance rapidly when necessary. Seasons change and ages pass like chapters in the book, and your legacy is super important. So I'm going to say this right at the front that this may change again because we're all experiencing the game new. Is that, but this is my plan, is to advance the season. And there are 3 seasons per year, every 4 real-time sessions. Okay. Unless circumstances deem an earlier change. Like if, technically by the book, we're all supposed to decide after every session end if we should advance the season. So if we do decide like, no, this is a pretty good place that we can probably leave it here and advance the season, we can do that even if it's sooner. But what am I going to attempt to do is that even if it's inconvenient or it feels like there are loose hooks that have not been resolved, which is likely going to be the case, especially knowing us, that at the end of every 4 sessions, we're actually just going to skip to the start of the next season. All right.
Okay.
An age, which is, I believe there are, let's see, actually, let me move over to the PDF here so people can see. Where's time? Yeah, an age is your life, basically. So an age is 3 ages. There's young, mature, and old. So I think that at age, what I'd like to do is pass. I would like an age to pass after every season cycle. Okay,
like
unless
spring,
again,
summer, fall, winter, new age.
Yeah, there's 3 of them actually. So there's spring, harvest, and winter are the 3 seasons. So if we go if we go through 12 sessions and get through all 3 seasons, technically that would be 1 year. But that's 12 sessions of us playing. That's a lot of time, right? That's what? That's if we play every single week, that's 3 months, right?
Yeah.
That we would actually advance in age. So you would move from young to mature. All right. And again, unless circumstances warrant otherwise. So that's going to be that's going to be a thing for us, like, because I just know us. Like, we're very meticulous. We like to go like step by step by step, like especially when we were looking at the Halls of Ardenvoul and Dolmenwood, that very, very nitty gritty thing. So you gotta. This is where the buy-in part comes in, because you've got to relax the reins.
Sure.
Right. You've got it. It's much more like a storybook affair. Now we're not. This is not a story game. We are not. I'm not going to like determine a narrative that you guys are going to follow along with, but we're all kind of creating that narrative together, and we have to be aware that we are characters in a myth. Very, very loose. You got to think about like those works of literature that this stuff is inspired by, like Beowulf and Chrétien de Troyes and things like that, where there was huge time skips, shifting from characters to characters, the sons and daughters of other characters moving on and backwards and forwards constantly, right? And things were left unresolved, and it just kind of skips forward, right? So we have to. That's what we're looking at here. It's going to be very, very different than anything else we've ever experienced before. And if any of us who have actually played Mythic Bastionland, it's never came up because we were only playing one shots. Right. Sure. So, but I really think
question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No.
So would you say that like time keeps on slipping
into the future?
Into the future.
Indeed. Yes.
Does Ted need to go take some deep breath or relinquishing control and not being meticulous? Like, are you gonna be okay, bud?
Yeah. This is the buy-in though. Well, like you can't fight against it. Like this is what the game is going to be. Right.
Speaking as a meticulous note taker and time tracker and so on, I mean, I totally get what you're saying. I do have a couple questions. One, like, sometimes we'll end a session like we don't quite get through a combat or something. We're mid-fight. We're not going to like.
That's different. Like I said.
Well, is it? That's what I'm checking. Like, because you could easily say, and then, many years passed, and you were all sitting around, in the Great Hall, wondering about that fight, and
how did it end? We don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember. Like I was just curious, like if you had vision.
Obviously, it ended with me dominating.
I would be open to that actually. I think like I would get buy-in from all of you guys if for instance like we were in the middle of a fight.
Sure.
And it was determined that the season was about to change or something like that. We could just be like, are you okay with perhaps like rolling a die to see how that turned out?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I love that because it takes a lot of agency away from us in an interesting way, but it could be really chaotic, right? And so maybe it's an ad hoc thing.
That's what I don't
really
know how
interesting
I'm going to
concept.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. The sulfurous cloud emanated from Mike, and all of the monsters ran away.
Yeah, exactly. So I've been listening to like podcasts and things, and I should give a shout out to the best one I found. I feel it's called the Smiling Fox. I want to give a shout out to those guys. They are a group of 3 guys, and I've forgotten their first names, and I really do apologize. But they have it's a discussion podcast about the Mythic Bastionland, and they all have 3 very different kinds of campaigns, but they talk a lot about the time passage because they played in longer campaigns, and they talk about the pros and cons of it. And there was enough pros, and it just seems so interesting and different than anything else I played that I want to give it a go. Pendragon also has this element; it's just not as abstract.
Not to editorialize too much. I know you have a lot to get through, John, but I like the conceit that Ted. Not that we're promising this is how we'll do it, but it's an interesting thing we're working through together, right? That we're, if we do fast forward, all of a sudden we're like around a campfire at the tavern, whatever, recounting the old tale, right? And I would only tie that in a little bit to like the Green Knight, right? There's an aspect of the Green Knight with like the early act my interpretation, maybe not everyone's, where it's like, is everyone actually accomplished in these feats they've done, or are they unreliable narrators of their own sort of mythology? Mm-hmm. And there's an interesting, all I'm saying is like, there's an interesting tension if we like figure out those sorts of junctures for ourselves. I don't know.
I think the same thing happens. Sorry, the same thing happens in the last act, David, of course, where, you know, although whether it's really happening or he's dreaming it, you know.
Sure. But that's the power of the myth of it, right? You're playing, cool. Even like John said with Arthurian myth, like the way that it is literal or figurative is really, I don't want to derail.
We're talking about a lot of like oral traditions here going on. Like the unreliable narrator is a huge part of it because, you know, no one knows who the actual author of Beowulf was, for example. And we're talking about how I think it'll be fun to explore. I don't know if we'll actually kind of reach this sort of level of enlightenment when we play, but how you are knights who are very real world and you're encountering these myths, but as time kind of passes, how you yourselves actually may become creatures or people of myth themselves and legends and things. So as time passes, will your deeds actually kind of pass into legend and maybe get the telephone treatment of you know, unreliable narrative down the line, something. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I think it's fascinating and worth exploring. So that's the deal.
Agreed.
But all that said, there is a high amount of player agency in the game. It is OSR in that way. Knights you're going to choose your own goals and you're going to choose how to achieve them. You are beholden only to the oaths. Okay, which is to seek the myths, honor the seers, and protect the realm. When in doubt, this is what Chris says in the book, and a lot of people have confirmed that this is definitely a good piece of advice. When in doubt about what to do, refer to the oaths. Literally look at the oaths and then do one of those things, and that'll keep the momentum going if the pace starts to lag a little bit. Okay, domain level play, tied into the time passage, is expected and encouraged when a knight gains renown. You're going to lead war bands in battle, possibly establish diplomatic ties. You're going to embark on grand projects, and you're going to be handling successions and crises, all as you gain glory. Probably not straight off the bat, but that is the expected evolution of play. Obviously, pulling from original Dungeons and Dragons a little bit. But also heavily inspired, of course, by the great David. You would know the name of these games, like Crusader Kings and what's that company that makes all those games?
Paradox. Isn't it Paradox that makes Crusader Kings and all of them? Yeah, they love Anno and all those sorts of things. Yeah.
Right. So like a lot of that sort of stuff as well. But again, not meticulous, not nitty gritty. It's all very abstract, but it is an expected form of play at the higher levels of glory. You guys will be starting as knights errant, which is the lowest level of knight, and you're going to be wanderers that have newly entered into the realm. All right, you know nothing about the realm except what the seers are going to tell you before they send you off. Seeking glory. All right, you are worthy as knights errant only of leading a war band. All right, that's the kind of pull that you have. You can grab some men together and order them to fight, and that's about all you have the charisma to do. So initially, this is in the beginnings in glory, which is one of the first pages here. You're supposed to determine the scope. So if you couldn't tell already, you can do an adventure, which is a one-shot, a chronicle, which is a finite number of sessions, or a saga. We're going to be doing in a saga, which is an indeterminate number of sessions dictated only by how long that we are all having fun, which is sort of what we've always done. So that is the deal for the expected elements play. Any other questions or thoughts about that kind of stuff?
Okay, you mentioned as you go through the ages, you become mature. Does that have a mechanical effect on our characters?
Yes, it does. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
When you become mature, this is on page 17 under the time chapter. You re-roll each virtue on a d12 plus d6, and you keep the result if higher. And then when you get old, you can re-roll each virtue on d12 plus d6, keep the result if lower, and old characters lose d12 vigor at the end of each age. And if you if that takes you down to Vig 0, you die peacefully.
Aw.
Okay.
Sounds great. And then if we die, do we come back as a knight errant?
You would
new character?
Yeah, new character. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So however you die. Yeah.
Yeah. We might end up in a situation where there's one or two knight errants and a couple of, mature, well-established, grizzled old battle veterans.
That's actually a good question. I don't think it's detailed in the rules. It just says, like, if someone dies, have them whip up a new knight and get them back in the action as soon as possible, which I've always followed in any D&D game.
Yeah.
But D&D has levels. This doesn't really. So I think it would be more determined by the narrative about what you would what most likely be. For instance, squires are a thing, and you're expected to have them at sometimes. They obviously are sort of placeholders for retainers and other D&D games. But in world, if we have some squires taking on taking on the role of the squire, who then gets knighted and becomes a knight errant, would be the obvious choice for a new character. For instance, right? Yeah, Mike.
Say I'm playing like the Moss Knight, right? And I die, and my squire. Then the squire automatically taking on the role of the Moss Knight, or is it a whole different knight?
It could be, but that is not the assumption. So it'd be completely dependent upon what the circumstances are or what you yourself desire, Mike. We'd have to determine at the time. And you might not even want to play the squire, right? It could be like another knight who just sort of wanders over the bridge and joins the company for some reason. Right? Yeah. So that's what I'm saying, Ted, is like it could like, let's say you're all like knights gallant. Is that, actually, that's the first one, isn't it? What's the what is the
errant? I think is the
errant. Yeah. So let's say you're knight gallant, which is 3 glory, and someone dies. You might be the knight who rides over the hill may be another knight gallant. I think the only rule that I would say is like when you come back, you would never be like higher rank than the average rank of the other ones. You know what I mean? Yeah. But just to be clear, that glory is a ranking of power within the game mechanically, but it's don't tie it too closely to like level in D&D sorts of games. It's very different about what that means. All right. So actually, this is time for our first break. But when we come back, let's talk about some of the themes that I hope that we explore during the campaign. So let's do our first break, and we will be right back.
Nice.
All right, we are back. Bladders empty, beers full. All right, so the themes of Mythic Bastionland that I hope that we'll be exploring. I went through this with Mothership back as well. I think we hit a lot of those themes actually with Mothership. So I want to do this again. This may be something that you can aim for. Again, I'm not trying to take away your agency at all, but if you want sort of a driving, just some guidelines a little bit about like what kind of things I'm sort of looking to explore in the campaign, you could go this way. But if it goes in a completely different way, I'm totally fine with doing that too. So a couple of things that I'm looking for. One is, this is more of a historical vibe a little bit, is that I'm interested in looking at the juxtaposition of knights as inherently people of violence. That is their job, is to commit violence, and violence as instruments of the political state. Yet also agents of the otherworldly seers, who are very much like the Merlin analogs of Mythic Bastionland. And the seers themselves are just, and I should say that you as knights are just as weird as the seers in many ways. And so you're expected to interact with the mythical world on its own terms. So I think that juxtaposition of like the historical knight as a man of political violence, right? Of like the instrument of the state, while at the same time being inherently weird and interacting with weird things deliberately as part of your oaths, I think would be just a real interesting thing, right? The mundane versus the supernatural sort of thing. Another one is the cycle of loss and redemption, which is expressed mechanically in the game through virtue loss. And the means by which your knights, which your characters can recover it. There are specific mechanical and narrative ways in which you recover your virtues. Your virtues are your 3 stats.
Does it involve smoking cigarettes and having an intimate relationship with androids by chance? Or?
with one of the knights, absolutely must.
It doesn't? Okay.
I actually took that part to be kind of like from the movie Excalibur, when, Lancelot like fucks off because he shtups the king's wife, and then at the end of the movie he comes back like a wild man, and he's like,
yeah, it's very much.
Sorry, did I spoil the 40-year-old movie for you?
40-year-old.
So who's Lancelot? Is that like the villain of the arc? Or no, I'm kidding.
but yeah, that is, you know, that is obviously one of the stories that that reflects that cycle. But I think it's a core part of the Arthurian myths, that cycle of loss and redemption. We see, you know, the king is tied to the land, and then the land starts to die, and the king starts to die, and then he's redeemed by the Holy Grail, and yada yada. Right. So that kind of stuff, I think, is almost like an essential core element of any sort of game centered around knights, with a round table sort of vibe. Looking at the contradictions and dilemmas that may arise through attempts to hold to the three oaths all of the time. Right? It seems on the surface that all three of them are pretty distinct, and that never the twain shall meet, or the thrain. I don't know, the three of them. But there will likely be many times and circumstances when you may have to choose between holding to one versus perhaps breaking another one, and that could lead to interesting dilemmas, I think.
That sounds blatantly unfair, John. I think we should avoid that.
Yeah, you can definitely try to avoid it. I think it's going to be interesting to see if you can hold to all three of them and what the consequences will be if you can't.
Well, that's hard, John. That's hard, John, because I only like to play tabletop games where I can be a pure, unadulterated hero without any complications or friction. And if anything comes up that challenges my worldview or my self-projection within the sort of role-playing experience,
yeah, that sounds like
I think that means the designer is evil. Sorry. Continue.
Yes. That's all falsehoods, by the way.
I look forward to David introducing socialism into the kingdom.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Never occurred to him. All right.
I think that contradiction and that difficulty of trying to find a way to overcome it. That's like, I mean, just as a very binary example, that's Hamlet.
Yes.
You know, like
100% Ted.
I must avenge my father. My uncle is the king, the murderer. Did he really do it? Then, you know, like, so there's obviously it's a little more complicated with Seers and realms and whatnot, but like those sorts of like dilemmas where you're like, how do I find the path through it? And maybe you don't, and we all fuck off into the wilderness and lose our minds because we can't find a way to overcome it. And
the three gang ignores all of the myths, goes to the furthest wilderness X, builds a commune, and doesn't interact with another human being for the rest of the game.
And then an age passes, and we come back like. In the next session, and now we have to redeem the virtue that we lost by not doing the thing we were supposed to do.
Yes,
Ted, you're spitting game.
Yeah,
tonight.
You were voicing idea. Exactly what I was not able to voice, but that is exactly the kind of thing that I'm looking for. Again, it's all dependent upon circumstances. Who knows which direction the campaign will take? But I would love it if those kind of dilemmas cropped up. Okay,
that sounds good.
Another one is. Reconciling the desire to impose authority for the sake of protecting those that cannot protect themselves. It's a key knight thing, right? But as opposed to the desire to live and let live, right? So there's your, political sort of thing, right? We're pretty well steeped in this sort of stuff. But you're going to have to reconcile the fact that you are, again, instruments of the state, and that you do have authority, and that one of the things that you have taken upon yourself is to protect those that cannot protect themselves. But when do you overreach, right? When you make that call. Another one, the inherent worthiness of reaching for something that is beyond your ability, no matter the odds. Okay.
My life. Streaming D&D online.
I foresee this as being a very big thing in Mythic Bastionland, and listening to other people's reports about their longer campaigns, it seems to be the case where you have to reconcile with the fact. I think this is also timed, kind of dovetails with the time skips, is that you have to, even if you have the knowledge that what you are attempting to accomplish can't be done, to try to do it anyway, that it is a worthiness in just the attempt itself. I think is very much a knightly virtue, a chivalrous virtue. That the attempt itself, the journey is worth it in itself, even if you know that you will not be able to accomplish what you set out to do.
That is literally what got every knight out of Camelot and on the quest for the Holy Grail.
Yes,
most of them absolutely knew they would fail, but they had to try anyway. because to not try was worse than failure.
Bingo. Exactly. Yes. So that kind of stuff I think is awesome. Which is to be clear too, is very much like not how we usually play our OSR parties. Right.
Well, no, but we have certainly been in situations where, this was beyond us. So I guess the difference would be here, we're going to try it anyway. And there it was like, how do we collapse the entire building around them instead of having to fight them?
But in those games, it's more about like minimizing risk, getting the most bang for your buck sort of thing. With here, it's like it's the loss, the fact that it is a lost cause is a worthy thing. And to do it anyways, even with full knowledge that you will not succeed. Okay. Yeah. Two more real quick. Another theme that I like to take a look at is the battle between predetermination and free will, and becoming wise enough to know when to submit to either of them. All right. So yes, there's plenty of agency, but this is also a weird world with weird seers and weird magics going on, right? That you won't have access to. So that means it's steeped in prophecy and lore and legends that say that something is going to come to pass. And you have to, I think it'll be interesting to see how you deal with things that are supposedly going to happen in the future. Do you follow that path or do you attempt to change it? That sort of thing. And then lastly, a very simple, the definition of heroism. Not to be undersold, but as we played more and more OSR, we know that heroes is something that you may aspire to, but you certainly don't start as. Here, it's assumed that you will be heroic. It's your duty. Not only by the game, not only from outside in, looking at the game itself, like what you're expected to play, but also by the people in the world. You're not just an average citizen; you are a knight, and it's not only just a name thing. There are weird abilities that you have that mean that you are definitely a knight, and so you are expected to be a hero. So exploring what that actually means, I think, is tied into all the other themes as well.
Do you think hubris is a concept that enters into this, or is it more sincere than that?
I think definitely hubris is
an honest question. Okay.
Yeah. A lot of fallen. I would actually, in my mind, in some of the lore that I've kind of built up for the world, rolling on the wonderful Spark tables in the book, there are a number of knights and high-powered people who have fallen because of hubris. Right.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Moving on. This is really key. Ties into buy-in. These are the elements of typical OSR D&D adjacent games that you will not be present. That will not be present in Mythic Bastionland, or heavily, heavily minimized. We need to get this through our heads, or we're going to have a bad time.
Searching for traps.
Yes. So, bingo. So the first one right off the bat is granular resource management. So tracking rations, torches, ammunition, coins, spell slots, detailed mapping, all of that stuff that Ted loves.
Ted is basically out. We don't need a Ted for this one.
Yeah. I want to be very clear. It will not be present and is not part of the core gameplay loop.
Oh my God. Right. Thank you, baby Jesus.
I think you're thinking the Seers, Mike.
There is a loose economy rules, but they're very, very loose. We'll go into more detail probably in session 1, but it's more about like only the extremely wealthy have coins that they actually trade with each other. Almost all procuring and the selling of goods is all through barter and favors. What can you do for me? That sort of thing. You can also expect, because you're knights, a fair amount of hospitality and generosity by default. That will also tie into how you behave in the world, because people have limits. So if you act like a jerk off, then you may expect that hospitality to sort of drift away and not be available, and then you can't get cool swords. So
I don't know, John. You've got me out, now you got David out. Like, who's left?
Now's the time to say we are doing a casting call for new members of the 3D6.
Also false. David's just basically fake news this entire episode. Okay. Another thing that's not going to be present is per turn or / like per round dungeon exploration. That sort of step-by-step methodology of exploring thing is not going to be there. Dungeons, especially as discrete locations in most RPGs, are very rarely present in Mythic Bastionland. They are there, but they take a different, much more abstracted form called sites. But even if you delve into a site, the way that you would explore it is like vastly different than any D&D OSR adjacent sort of methodology. So just be aware that none of that, like every 10 minutes you can do a thing and that sort of thing is not going to be in the game. You're not going to find long lists of items, spells, monsters, and abilities are not going to be in the game. Each NPC and monster of import, whether that's a mythical creature, a knight that you meet, for instance, a seer or a lord, they often have like unique rules that somehow twist the baseline, right? So nothing is playing by the same rules necessarily. Like they always have like bespoke abilities that do weird things. So it's kind of cool because you're going to have to size up narratively like your threats every time you kind of come across one, whether that be a social threat or a physical threat. And you can't be reliant upon like, oh, that guy's probably loaded down with a magic missile, so I better wear my brooch of shielding, right? None of that kind of crap is going to be there. You cannot be reliant upon like a baseline list of mechanical elements. All right. You're also not going to find scaling up in power and abilities in any real concrete sense. We already sort of went through the glory thing, but that's about
now I'm out.
Yep, I knew that would not be a good thing with Mike, but
It's gonna be me.
But yeah, so there, if you're looking for that kind of stuff, it ain't going to be there. You have to work to make yourself more powerful. Again, your characters are defined more by their utility than their actual mechanical complexity. So if you want to be cooler than you already are, you have to go out in the world and make yourself that way. The game will not make it that way.
Sorry, Mike, you gotta
Dude, I've been
be rewarded on the basis of your merits, right?
I've been trying to make myself cooler for like 50 years and I've never succeeded.
You know what, guys? When John and I are done, we'll give you a call.
No, because the fifth item he's going to mention is no mustaches, and then you're done.
Oh man.
And the last one, this is much more of an encompassing thing, but this is really important. You're not going to, if you're looking for this is overall, it kind of encompasses everything we've been talking about. What you will not find in this game is simulationist and completionist gaming. This game is much more impressionistic and vibes based. So you're never going to come across the thing for instance, like recently in our Dolmenwood campaign, there was a haunted inn that you left unresolved, and it felt really bad because you didn't feel like you had completed it, right? So you went back to complete it and get a good wrap up. That's not going to be the situation in Mythic Bastionland, right? Things are just going to occur, and you're not going to know exactly why it happened, if it was meant to be. Did I design it that way? Did I roll on a random table? Is it something that you did that caused it to happen? And you're going to come across a lot of scenarios where you're just going to be like, well, that was weird. And you can choose to engage with it as much as you want. But the example I give every time I kind of think about this is The Green Knight. The two movies, by the way, which is homework for everybody out there who is interested in this campaign or this game should watch, is Excalibur and The Green Knight. In The Green Knight, there is the very famous scene where Gawain meets, where he encounters the giants.
Yes,
walking.
I was
right,
hoping you would say that.
So
Yes.
weird.
and it's so weird, it's so bizarre, yet so beautiful, and it's a scene that everyone remembers who watched the movie, right? But what the meaning that you apply to that scene is going to be different for every single person, right? I was watching the director's commentary by David Lowery. And he said that was inspired by a very brief passage in the original poem. I can't remember what it was, but it's like it was sort of like a sequence of him traveling over many, many days or weeks or something like that. And it just said like he encountered many beasts and giants and it just kind of passes it by. But that struck him and he decided to film it. And you can apply whatever meaning you want to it. But did it have an overall effect in his quest for to meet the Green Knight? Debatable, right? So,
well, let's have that debate later. But I'm ready to talk about that scene.
Yeah. So what I'm saying though is that there's just going to be a lot of times where you're not going to be able to get the full answers to things, and that's okay, right? If you want there to insert your own answers, I'm up for that too, right? Create your own legends, create your own myths, sort of thing. I think that would be kind of fun. But it's definitely not one of those where I'm pretty sure that since the chasm was here on level 3, that it probably goes down to level 4 right here. So we should go check out this room particularly because I'm pretty sure the map will link up this way. Like none of that's ever going to happen in this game, right? Okay, so let's see.
No torches is really the key here. I don't have to worry about torches.
You do not have to worry about torches. Yes, that's great.
Sweet.
Let me just check a thing.
I also
quick.
just because I'm a hater, I love the Green Knight. David Lowery, killing it. I'm always curious when directors reference textual stuff and not illustrative stuff when they reference their influences, and I think there might be some self-consciousness there because there's a lot of really great illustrative examples of that giant scene in history. And I'm always curious, like, are they afraid of just saying, like, "Oh, I really like this art," so I put it in my film? I don't know.
It wasn't in the commentary. That could have been something that.
No, of course.
He's
But
speaking extemporaneously as he's watching the movie. But
of course, but I always wonder,
Yeah. Okay, so let me think here. Let me just look. Make sure I'm covering all my bases here. Sorry, I got to speak into the mic. Okay. Yes. All right. So very similar to the Arthurian tales and the sort of fragmentary real world historical foundations that these legends are based upon. The world of Mythic Bastionland is going to operate, or at least the realm that actually probably any campaign of Mythic Bastionland, but in my world, this world of Mythic Bastionland is going to operate under a dream logic and a high level of abstraction. So the myths themselves defy physics and norms. Heroes and villains are larger than life. So even the real world people you meet a lot of them are going to be mundane, but a lot of them are going to be much larger than life. Prophecies have import, as I said. People, places, and things that are encountered briefly but memorably for no reason and for very important reasons. This is what I'm talking about with that giant scene from the Green Knight. And this is a key thing. The speech and actions are florid, they're impactful, they're sudden, and they're backed with raw emotion and full candor. At least that's the way that I kind of intend the campaign to run. That may change, and you can buy into as much or as little of that as you want. But the inspiration I'm taking from that is Excalibur for that one particularly. A lot of people think of this as a negative of the movie. I think it's a positive of the movie. I don't know if it was an intentional or not by John Borman, but picture in your head, everyone who's seen Excalibur, like that very odd line delivery and the physical blocking in the movie itself, where there are like these sudden shifts in voice volume and tone. Especially if you think about who's the guy who played Merlin, like the way that he raises and lowers his voice, like with almost mid-sentence, right? Mm-hmm. Arthur does the same thing, though. The sudden bursts of motion, like everything's done with like full heart, right? Like, when that one knight who used to be against Arthur then pledges himself to him after the battle in the water, it's like he grabs him, and excuse me, got something in my throat there. Excuse me. 1 second. Sorry.
he's got a seer in his throat.
Yeah. Ooh. Everything is like super heightened and melodramatic, and it's operatic is basically the word I'm looking for. Is what everything's there's not a lot of subtlety. Even the subtlety itself is unsubtle, right? Like Merlin is a subtle man, but the way he portrays that in the movie is very unsubtle, right?
Yeah.
And then of course there is the episodic nature of Sir Gawain's journey in the Green Knight. So in that one and in the original poem too, there are these wholly encapsulated encounters and experiences, right? Seemingly unrelated, but obviously related to each other. Each of which imparts like a lesson or a moral, like a fable. And the connections amongst these episodes, the reader or the watcher has to infer, right? Some some encounters are like arbitrary but beautiful, like the encounter with the giants. And the other thing I wanted to say about that scene in particular is that if that encounter happened in a normal fantasy RPG, like a mainstream RPG, the questions would arise naturally from the players, like as to the nature of the giants. Where are they going? Why hasn't King Arthur, whose realm they're marching through, heard of them or done anything about them? Right? But in the film, it's enough that Gawain acts as a witness to something great and unexplained. And that's it. Right? So,
Love that.
Yeah. So that's the sort of vibes that we're going for. Anyone have any questions about that?
Oh.
No.
All right,
That
cool.
sounds really cool.
All right, cool. Very different than what we're used to. All right, so that's basically what I'm looking at for the campaign. That is the game. Without kind of going into the rules. But now we can move into character generation, or as I should say, selection. More is more the word that we're looking for here, because generation is not very difficult at all, but selection is key. All right, in the book, let me go to the PDF here. There are 72 knights, each of them vastly different from each other, usually with a bespoke ability that sets them apart from each other. Different sorts of possessions, steeds, usually a random chart or two to roll on. Also, each has a unique seer, that is the person, the weird being, may not even be a person, that knighted them. All right. They are very, very different from each other. They are all knights. As I was saying before, you have all sworn the oaths. You are supposed to demonstrate chivalry in one way, shape, or form. But other than that, they are very, very different. Obviously, for the sake of the game, if you're experienced with other TTRPGs, you're going to see a lot of analogs to other games' archetypes. So there are certain knights that like exhibit the like the appearance of like a druid, or the appearance of a berserker, or the appearance of like a shady rogue sort of thing, right? And a lot of their abilities are magical in nature, but there is no spell system, there is no magic system, there is no sorcerer class at all, or any sort of arcane class, right? So this is a classless game, but the classes themselves are these 72 knights. All right, if you want to look at it that way.
Finally, a game where you don't have to have any class. Now we're back in my wheelhouse again.
Yeah. Mike's been waiting.
I'm like school in summertime. John, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so 72 knights. Is the assumption that there is at least one, there is only one of these knights, but that they are all present in the realm?
No.
Like, okay.
So one of your things is true, one is not. So it is true that only one person can hold the title, unique title of each one of the 72 knights.
Okay.
Right? So if someone is the Snare Knight, for instance, there is no one else, at least in the realm, which is all we're concerned about, that has that title. However, it does not necessarily mean that all 72 knights are marching around the realm and you are for them. Right. Okay. That said, there are some NPCs in the setting that currently hold titles. So if you select or roll one of those knights, I will let you know, and you have to choose another. I'm not going to give any details. I'm just going to be that knight's off limits. Okay.
Okay. Fair enough.
Okay.
But it's all my picks.
There's not that many. There's not that many because, again, I was keeping in mind that, of course, you guys are going to have some favorites and stuff like that. But obviously, some important people are going to be knights in the realm. Like, you're not the only knights marching around, and that's part of the core thing, is to interact with other knights. There are other titles that are available to take. Like you're going to be able to be this knight, but they may have historical or legendary import associated with them due to past holders of the title. All right, so you don't get a clean slate just because you choose this guy. There actually may be some history associated with that title. Doesn't mean you can't take them, but if you do take them, you will also have to take on the burden of that legacy. All right.
But we wouldn't necessarily know what that is, right?
No.
And nor would our characters.
Because you are not familiar with the realm. That's correct. Yeah. Yeah, you are brand new. You as players and your characters are brand new to the realm. Yeah, Ted.
If we are knighted by a seer, say I'm like the Fox Knight, who's knighted by the Needle Seer, but I'm new to the realm, the seer is here in the realm? The seer followed me here? What's going on with that?
No, your seers are not in the realm. There will be seers in the realm, but your seers are not in the realm.
So we'll be finding other seers and interacting with them to seek the myths.
That's correct. Yes.
Okay.
And so the realm is not like a world. The realm is literally could be the next kingdom over. Like,
correct. It is
again,
next kingdom over.
like, right. Lancelot was from like Lyonesse or whatever, right? But now he is in Britain.
That's correct. That's a really good analog, yes. And just so everyone knows, should have been evident by the overlay, of course, but this is the world. The world that I've created I have called the Adamant Expanse, which is the name I've given to the realm, which is based upon the major body of water which is central to it. Actually, let me switch over to Miro, and you can feast your eyes on another fantastic piece of art by David. But this is the realm that we're going to be exploring. If anyone wants to know, I use the program called Hex Kit, which is also the program that Chris McDowall used on all of his live streams. He was demonstrating the game, and I highly recommend it. Links are down below in the description. But I generated this by the rules in the book. So the big body of water there, the Adamant Expanse, is a major inlet of a much larger sea. So considered it sort of like bay-sized. All right. That is the realm, but it's connected to a much larger realm. If you want to kind of visualize it a little bit, that larger kingdom or that larger landmass lies generally to the southwest of this map. But don't be jerks and be like, I'm going to immediately to that hex that's off the map.
Why would we ever do that, John?
I don't know.
It could happen, and it has happened in other campaigns that I've listened to and read about. But usually after things develop as ages pass and things like that, that may open up a larger thing. In which case I will have to create more.
Is this sort of grid size you've got here sort of the standard? Like you said, you generated it by the rules. Is this 12. The size?
Yes, this is the recommended size for like a normal campaign. So a 12 by 12 hex. Yeah.
12 by 12. Okay.
Yeah. But let's pull back from the map, and we'll discuss that later because we're focusing on the characters right now. Switching back. So the way that I have deemed that you guys can choose your characters is you can either roll randomly on this table that you see before you by rolling a d6 and a d12, which will drop you onto one of these knights. Or if you have one in mind that you absolutely must play, you can just choose them. I don't want to force you to play something that you're not interested in or that may not fit the vibe of what we're looking for here. And I also want you guys to discuss about not synergy mechanically, but more like synergy party wise. Like if it's just like three of you are similar thematically, but one is like way off, maybe that's not the right choice, that sort of thing. So you should discuss it. So the other thing too is if you roll and you don't like it, you can just roll again, or you can choose something off your list of ones that you were sort of looking at. So so basically best of both worlds. I am not going to be harsh about what you want to play. The only thing I'm going to be harsh about is nixing anything that I have already taken for an NPC.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Okay. So
guys, just so you know, like rather than roll and then get something that I just absolutely don't want to roll, I basically picked like 5 different knights, but I'm willing to roll like a D10 split by 2 and then pick those randomly if we want to do like, I don't know.
Are we going around the horn, John?
Because I was going to leave it up to you guys, whoever had a strong feeling or wanted to get things started, or I can guide you if you like.
I might be the outsider here in that I intentionally did not pick knights because I want to roll and land on that. That may mean that me going first will color the choices that the list that you guys have. I don't know.
That's fine. Why don't you roll first? That's
would
great.
you prefer me to do that, or would you prefer to choose and then I don't care. I can roll based on that and then re-roll if you guys have already chosen. In other words, if you have like a list that you have a preference scale on, is it easier for you if I've simplified that, or is it easier for you to have it first and then I roll based on the negative space? Does that make sense?
I think David should roll. Because I've got multiples, Mike's got multiples, Matt's got multiples. If he rolls the Fox Knight, I'll take it off my list.
Right. If that makes it easier for you all, then I'll roll first. That's what
I don't know that it makes it easier, but I think it kind of makes it more interesting.
It works.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go for it. Okay, so David, you're going to roll me a. Oh, actually, so we're going to be using the dice here. So let me get that going here. Okay, David, you're going to roll a d6 first. Let's go one at a time here. The Antissa.
It's loading. I hit the button.
After all that, you wanted to go first, and you can't find
The D6 icon is just shaking like this, just anticipating. It's edging to send that dice out.
Just roll a normal D6. Like a real D6 if you have it.
There you go.
It just went through. It just went through. Oh, two of them went through. The first one was a 3. Okay, so 3 is the D6.
Why am I
result.
not seeing it? I'm not seeing it on the screen, but
Maybe David.
Okay, everyone change of plans. Pull out your regular dice.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
That's fine.
Do you want to keep the
My
3? It's up to
D6 result
Yeah.
on a regular dice is a 4.
4. Okay. Now roll a D12.
Gotta find one. 1 second.
Unprepared for class.
Well, I thought we were doing the digital. Listen, I'm not doing
Digital
it
is not working apparently.
So I'm rolling the D12. You ready? Result is a 9. So I got a 4 and a 9.
It looks like the Mirror Knight.
Mirror Knight.
That's the Mirror Knight.
Where is he? Because my PDF just crapped out.
Page 116, I think, John.
Oh, great.
116.
I have him here.
I found him.
All right. Looks like I'm having a problem with my PDF, so we're going to have to drop out for a second. It is actually time for a second break, so why don't we do that? We'll come back and we'll take a look at the Mirror Knight once I get this figured out. We will be right back. Okay, we are back. Bladder's empty, beer's full. All right, so we just determined that David had rolled randomly for his knight, and he happened upon the Mirror Knight, which we were taking a look at right here. So in eyes adjust the giving got blow for blow from one shared lot. So you can take a look here. Your every knight has 4 things actually. It has property, your gear. You have a special ability, passion, which is the way that you can restore lost spirit. So that'd be one of your virtues. That's one of your 3 stats. This is how one way in which you could regain lost passion, regain lost spirit is to follow this passion. And then your seer that knighted you. So you can see that you have a hook axe, 3 throwing axes, a round shield, a hushing bell. Those who hear the bell hear nothing else. That's pretty cool.
Ooh. I feel like I landed on the perfect result for me, but
No, you got to go down, dude.
that is their top desired night. I'm happy to re-roll. That's why I
No. You
It's
can.
not even on my list.
No, David, you got to look at the egality thing because you basically restore a spirit when you give someone else their fair share. That's like the anti-David
What
power.
do you mean?
You didn't see me get that bag of gold.
Oh, because of my thieves. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your ability, Reflection of Blood. When you are wounded, the attacker suffers the same amount of vig loss as you. When you are scarred, the attacker gets the same scar. That's the
very
mirror.
cool.
This is a fun night,
Yeah,
y'all.
very cool.
This is why I like rolling.
And your steed is key here too. You have a faded steed. So the steeds are really interesting because oftentimes he just puts like one adjective in front of it. Sometimes it's really obvious what the adjective means, but sometimes you have to interpret it. This is one where you might have to interpret it, right? So it's a faded steed. You have memories together in which you would roll this on this chart right here. So you would roll like 2d6 and look at each column.
Should we do that now or should we do that later?
We can do it now if you want to play the night. Does this jive with you, David, or do you want to pick one or roll again?
You know, I love random. So I'm going random. I'm hitting this. I'll roll 2d6 now if you want to clarify the rest.
Okay, cool. So yeah, roll 2d6, but roll one at a time because we're going to roll the night column and then the steed column.
Sure. So first 2d6. The result is a 2, which is avenged family.
Okay.
The second d6 is a 1, which is fought bravely.
Okay, so those are the memories that you share with each other. So the steed shares a memory of you having avenged your family, and at least the way I interpret it. And then you have
This-
a memory
The
of
steed fought bravely. Yeah.
Steed fighting bravely. Yeah.
Interesting.
Could I ask a question about the night things on here? And I never have been able to figure it out. And I probably just didn't read something very carefully. These like words along the bottom of the description of the character, person, cowardly, diplomat, name. What are these referring to? Are these referring to your character or
no? Not necessarily. They're just Spark things. So it's basically a GM tool. So if I'm looking for any sort of like if you ask me a question about like something in the world. Like, what does this thing look like? I can flip open to a random page and basically look at object and go, it looks like a foul brooch. Right?
Okay.
That's the genius of the game and the layout of it. It's pretty cool. All right, so your seer was the giant seer. A great bounding figure.
Just like the Green Knight.
Clumsy menace to nearby
This
settlements.
seems very, very the coincidence of all this we were just talking about. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I cut you off, John. Sorry.
No, that's good. All right. So so you're basically what you're going to do is you're going to take all of that information on this thing and you're going to translate it to your character sheet.
Cool.
But in with the results of your particular table roll there with the steed memories. Make sure that you're translating down all of the stats for the property as well. We will explain what those mean later, but just write it down word for word. Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, we have one down. David is the Mirror Knight. While you're listening to the rest of us, David, you're going to want to think about a name that can be applied to the Mirror Knight if it's one that you thought about, but try to have one in mind. Okay, who wants to go next?
I'll do it. I'll go next.
Okay.
I'm not afraid. I've got a kingdom to see and myths to honor and realms to protect. Here we go. Okay, I rolled a 4 on the D6.
Okay.
And an 8 on the D12.
Okay, that is the Iron Knight.
Ooh.
I believe this was actually one that one of you guys played at GaryCon when I ran.
I played it, and it was awesome.
Yeah. Iron Knight's cool.
Okay.
As sword a bend, as plate a fold, as shield a splint, a tale a told. How do you feel about it, Matt? Is that not your jam?
This is so. I broke this down. I read all the knights, and there were 9 that were not me. There were a bunch that I could make work, and then there were like 12 that I thought were really cool. I am in David's school. I love randomness. I love rolling randomly and see what happens. This is on my list of things that could definitely work. So I'm happy to be the Iron Knight.
Okay, cool. I love it. I love that picture of the sword, how it's like a squared off end there. So it's a cleaving blade. You have mail, plate pauldrons, an inscribed scabbard, which shows a different scene each morning, hinting at the nearest myth. That is pretty cool, and you're gonna have to remind me that. And
that was my number one choice. Damn it, Matt!
As we're also flipping through the book, take a look at Alec Sorensen's art. I should obviously it's amazing, beautiful. But the eye for detail, the way in which his illustrations have to reflect some of these small little descriptions that Chris gives out, which are very, very terse. It's pretty amazing. So, like you have here a dark steed. What does that mean? Well, this is Alec's interpretation of that. You can actually see the very, very faint silhouette of the horses. Cool. Ted, what's the name of that thing that's on the nose of a horse?
That is a chevron.
A chevron, yes.
Also,
just a hint of a chevron.
Just an observation, Matt. You rolled the knight exactly behind the Mirror Knight in the page number. We are sequential in our rolling, which is,
I don't know if that means anything.
Amongst 70 odd knights is pretty wild. Anyway,
so your ability, heightened sharpness. When you perform a strong gambit with a bladed weapon, you may choose one of the following as the effect. The target receiving a save is normal. You can take a limb or take their head if their guard is 0. So
this is none shall pass.
None shall pass. Exactly. This is at least to my D&D mind, this is the Mythic Bastionland's equivalent of a vorpal blade. And you get one at first level.
Okay, I can deal.
Passions, though, to restore spirit diligence when you refuse a shortcut. So that's pretty cool. So we have to find out the origin of the cleaving blade. So roll 2d6.
Okay. First is a 4. So out of a broken boulder.
Cool.
Very cool. And at a time of 5, which is sorrow.
At a time of sorrow, you pulled the cleaving blade from a broken boulder.
So cool.
So cool. And your seer that knighted you is the celebrated seer, clad in a coat of shining metal masks, each an expression of joy. Only sees moments of intense positive emotion, more intensity, granting clearer visions and pleasure. And wants praise and elaborate celebrations, not really caring what for. Okay, cool.
So I'm going to have this. I could just see this here. Yeah, I'm going to get a knight and have him just lop people's heads off. That works.
Yeah, I love like the seers never quite match up with like the theme of the knight and vice versa, which is kind of, I think it's weird, kind of cool. All right, cool. So we have the Iron Knight and the Mirror Knight. Matt, think about a name. All right, okay. Mike and Ted.
Go ahead, Ted.
All right. So I do have, as we all do, a few selected favorites. I'm a little jealous about the Iron Knight because I really love playing that at GaryCon, but I was like, I'm not going to go for that one again. It's good that I didn't, but it's an awesome knight. So I'm going to go ahead and roll, and if I don't feel a match for it, then I've got some backups here.
Cool.
So it looks like I rolled a 1 and a 10, which I think is the Riddle Knight.
The Riddle Knight.
Which is not one of the ones I was looking at all.
Okay.
Let me look at it again here. A careful word can rise or fade within each year, a truth remade. The Riddle Knight is equipped with a bow and a moon. This is like a ranger sort of thing. I was definitely feeling more of a traditional knight myself.
Do something else. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I will. Okay. So I have a few that I'm looking at, but I'm really kind of drawn to the Dove Knight.
Dove Knight.
In the serenest moon, the best of us can rest in docile light. The quietest bird in impure times must soar in grisly flight. And they have winged armor. And they can do a strike of serenity, and they have, I think this is so crazy. They carry bright weeds, which can create a cool glow when crushed to a powder. I don't know why they have that, but anyway, I like the Dove Knight.
Strike of serenity.
But others that I like too. It's not on your list, is it, John?
It's not, no. Make a melee attack against a wounded target. Get plus D8 to the attack. If this defeats the target, then all allies restore spirit. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Not to mention, man, you can come out of like go into combat holding 2 doves like a Chow Yun Fat movie.
And you restore spirit when achieving a worthy revenge. Okay, so they're all about vengeance.
Yep. I also, I mean, geez, can I play like all 12 knights, John? Because this is hard to decide. This is.
All right, but I think what your winged armor's abilities are. But
yeah, I'm going to go with
the Sunlit Seer.
All right, so we're going to go with the Dove Knight. I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do it. I'm drawn to it. It gets interesting. So my wings appear as real wings. And then do I roll again for the limitation, or do I just go across the board?
Wait, so yeah, you do roll again. What did you roll for the ability?
I'm sorry, I rolled a 6.
For the appear as real wings. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And so then I roll again, and I sink like a stone, which I assume means if I get in the water wearing my armor, I just sink to the bottom.
Yeah.
It's a good thing there's not a lot of water in this campaign.
No, I'm not going swimming ever.
Okay, cool.
All right.
That's awesome.
So, and I believe the Dove's Knight name. Oh, I have my name already if you want it.
Not yet.
Okay. Okay.
Don't be an iconoclast, Ted.
I'm not doing nothing. I was just asking.
Yeah, the Sunlit Seer. This is kind of cool. A fragile, burnt body shuddering in a bed tended by a lone herbalist. However, when she is the nearest seer, she can appear as a white face in the sun.
That's cool.
That wants to see her beloved knights triumph in battle above all else. Pretty cool. Yeah, this is kind of a knight that's it leads you to think that it's going to be something, and then it's not, right? This strike of serenity. It's actually like a very violent person. Yeah, but it has a strike of serenity though. It's kind of cool. All right, cool. So Mike, you're last. What's up?
All right, man. I'm gonna roll, and if I don't like it, we're gonna jettison it.
Okay.
All right, I got a 1 on the D6 and a 4 on the 10-sided. What is that?
Bloody night.
Yes.
Some were born to fight and fall, forged beneath blades clash. This one birthed from blood of war, stained with corpses' ash. We have a long axe, brutal plate, sacks of strong alcohol to which you're largely resistant, and a bullish warhorse.
So it's a dwarf.
Slaughter Echo. Use immediately after defeating an opponent. Use your next melee attack in this combat. Your next melee attack in this combat gains blast. That's nasty.
I don't know what that means.
But Mike, aren't you going to play against type for once in your life, or no? I'm kidding.
No. It's funny. I actually had this one on my. It was like number 5 on my list.
Perfect. Shocker.
Perfect.
Passion is justice. Restore spirit when you restore the balance of justice. Okay. Oh, you're going to roll for your rage fuel. Your sex is strong. Amazing. All right, let's roll for your rage fuel.
All right, my rage fuel. I got burning wine, but can I have sour milk instead?
Gross.
Look at this wheedling. Are we rolling
Jesus
random
Christ.
dice or not?
Yeah, roll the hatred.
I'll do burning wine. I don't know what that means. What is it? Why is it
Number
on fire?
3 is
It
hatred
burns
is
in the
the
throat.
poor. Number 3 is hatred is the poor. And if Mike rolls this,
Mike, there you go. And the burning wine causes your rage because it burns on the way out.
We haven't even figured out the hatred. Can someone please roll the second D6? Would be amazing.
I will. I'll do it for him.
I got a 1. I got the rich. I hate the rich.
The rich? So you got 1 and 1?
I got a 1 again, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Oh my God, how great would it have been if it had been knights? Yay, we would have been
The sun would have been funny too, because you're like a hungover drunk who despises the sunrise. You know?
Well, look, this is the key thing though. It's sacks of strong. So you have sacks of strong alcohol. So you have lots of this, which is a burning wine, and it
doesn't affect me.
Yeah, to which you're largely resistant. So I don't think it's necessarily true that you have a hatred of the rich.
But if anybody you give that to, they will.
Correct.
Oh.
Yeah. And you can restock it each new season. Yeah.
I guess I'm the union rep knight, not David.
Okay. And you're...
Damn,
okay.
you took it from me, brother.
Mike, are you okay with this tonight?
I love this. Are you kidding me?
Okay, cool. Your seer is the reed seer. Very cool illustration there. Knows they will lose their sight if they pass over a river. Sees the near future in the patterns of reeds chopped in a very specific way. Wants to live in the protection of a worthy master serving a righteous cause. Okay, that's cool. Okay.
I think the thing I actually love about this one is the justice part of it. That's like awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's how you restore your spirit. Yeah. Okay, so that's our initial company of knights. We have the Bloody Knight, the Mirror Knight, the Dove Knight, and the Iron Knight. I think it's a pretty cool mix of very violent people, frankly.
Not the Mirror Knight. The Mirror Knight wants to have everyone have an equivalent exchange, all right?
You're all men of violence. Okay, so the... let's see. At this point, I'm actually going to, since we are now a company of knights, you players can't actually see this, but everyone out there can. I'm going to reveal a little fragment of David's artwork here, which is you are all now a party of knights errant.
So that's what we put as our rank, right? Knight errant.
Yes, you have 0 glory.
0 glory, okay.
And you are knights errant, and that means you are worthy of leading a war band.
What do we put for age, John?
One second, man.
Sheet.
One step at a time, please.
Head always jumping ahead.
Let me fill out the slots, John.
There are empty things on my sheet.
Okay. You are knights. You are knighted by a common oath and visions of the city. You may have dreams of glory, but every knight must accept the risk of death. The seers who knighted you have deemed that you travel as a company. While some of you may rest, roam, or die, your collective journey will be as one. You have 3 virtues. You're going to roll a value for each of them in order. down the line, you may say. The start that we choose, it determines the dice that you roll. So let's see. Our starts, we are going to be, so the three starts that you can choose are Wanderer, Courtier, or Ruler. We're obviously going to be starting as Wanderer since we're doing a saga, right? So you are young Knights Errant. That is your age, young. If you want to give yourself a number, but again, this is sort of the abstract nature. They never call for an actual age. You're just young, right? Yeah. You're not squires, though, just to be clear. You're full knights.
So in tabletop years, that's like 40.
40, like, we like to think so. Okay, so that so what we choose, either Wanderer, Courtier, or Ruler, determines what your starting stats are going to be. So for young Knights Errant, which is the default start, you're going to be rolling a D12 plus a D6 in each virtue. All right, you're going to arrive in the realm seeking glory, and if you lack direction, you're going to have you seek a Seers counsel. But regardless, let's do these stats first. So you're going to roll the three stats in order. So you're going to roll Vigor, Clarity, and Spirit. A D12 plus a D6. You're going to add the two together, and that's what you get. There is no rerolls. If you roll a 2, you have a 2. Okay.
And just like I'm looking at the formatting of the character sheet, like the number we're rolling is going to go at the top of the box or at the bottom of the box?
Bottom.
I'm not looking at character sheet, so actually let me bring it up here so I can see.
Yeah, that's where the maximum goes.
It's a little grayed out, but it says maximum on the bottom and current at the top.
I just very zoom in. Max.
The small font. It's a baby small font.
Okay. All right.
Any errors, of course. Out of memory. What do you mean? Okay. All right. So why don't we start in backwards order? Ted, why don't you go first? So Vigor is strong limbs, firm hands, powerful lungs. Clarity is keen instinct, lucid mind, shrewd eyes. Spirit is charming tongue, iron will, fierce heart.
All right.
Vigor first.
Vigor is an 11. Okay. 6 and a 5. We add them up, right?
Yep. D12 plus D6.
Yeah. Okay. D12 plus D6. And my clarity is a foe. I have no keen instinct nor shrewd eyes. My spirit is a semi-respectable 8.
8. Okay. 11, 4, 8. Now you're going to roll for your guard. So this is your skill at avoiding wounds.
Right.
All right. So attack rolls automatically hit, but they take off of your guard first. And then only after your guard is depleted do you actually start taking wounds. So your guard is your ability to avoid being hit.
Yep.
All right.
So the straight D6, right?
Straight D6, yep.
Okay. My guard is a 5.
Ooh.
A 5. Okay, good.
Nice.
I will take it.
All right. That's it. That's all the rolls that
I
you
made
need
a character.
That's all you got to do to make
You
a
did
character.
so good, Ted. We're very proud of you.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
All right. That was the Dove Knight. Matt, you have the Iron Knight.
Okay. D12, D6. Rolling for vigor. That's not great. Okay, that's a 5.
A 5.
Whoops.
Okay. Clarity.
Well, I get to go out in a blaze of glory. Okay, clarity. Well, that's a 14. That is very clear.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. And for spirit, also a 14.
Whoa. Okay.
Wow.
In your guard.
Not too bad. Guard, big money, no Amy's. Oh, that's a 6, baby.
Jesus,
That's good.
Okay. So that's
I
kind
don't
of
have
crazy
any-
because you rolled really shitty for what you would think would be the most dominant stat for something called the Iron Knight. So you're going to have to really kind of think about how that reflects on your, like, what kind of character that makes you, right? Like maybe
You've
it's
lost an arm.
or it's just you're just all armor, right? Something like that. You are the Iron Knight.
Yeah. I'm
after
all
you know?
defense.
Yeah. Like maybe it's actually like an overcompensation sort of thing. Like you were always a weakling or something like that, right? And so you.
Well, that's why I get the sharp sword.
Yeah.
There was a
the sharp sword.
character at the end of Mothership that What was his name?
Okay.
love this.
Next up is David, the Mirror Knight.
All right, let's see
D12
what we
plus
got.
D6.
Mirror Knight. First roll is Vigor. We got a 6.
Okay.
Oh, all right.
Yikes.
6 vigor.
Not great. All right. On Clarity, we got a 15 on Clarity. That's not bad.
Ooh, okay.
All right. Spirit. We got a 15 on Spirit too. Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
all right.
What the hell is going on here?
Okay.
And guard's a
Hold
D6.
Guard. Yeah, D12 and a D6. I'm rolling the right dice. Don't worry.
Just a D6 for guard now.
Oh, just a D6 for guard. Okay, so that's 5.
5. Okay. Great.
Rolled
All
well.
right. Those are very good stats. You're very
I
much
did
in
great.
line. You're like one higher than Matt for your 3 virtues, except for guard. Okay. Mike, the Bloody Knight.
Yep. I can't tell you how excited I am to roll a D12. This is very cool. Poor neglected D12. All right. So I got a 7 and a 4. So 11 for vigor.
Okay. That's
Good.
same as Dove Knight.
And then clarity is, a 2 and a 1. Ouch.
3. Okay.
Yes, I'm not the dim one.
You do not have a lucid mind.
Ooh, but I got a 14 for spirit.
All right, cool.
Nice.
And a D6 for guard.
I got a 3.
A 3. Okay, cool. All
Who's
right.
got the highest roll so far? Is it me? Do I
think
get
so.
to be?
Yes,
means
in
I'm gonna
general,
die
you have the
first.
highest rolls.
I want to die the first for sure.
Con 5 still alive.
That's the rule, literally. I don't like rolling high. I always die when I roll high.
I believe when I looked at the graphs for these probabilities, like so you
Sure.
can see that the range is similar to a 3 to 18 from D&D, but it's actually 2 to 18, right? But when you're rolling a D12 plus a D6 versus 3D6, the 3D6 has a bell curve, right? But the 2D6 plus D12 is actually a trapezoidal, so it's actually a plateau. I can't remember where the plateau is, like the high
I guess it
plateau.
would be.
But it's flat. Like you have an even chance of getting something like from 7 to 13ish, I think, in that range, like an exact even chance across the board for that range, a very wide range in the mid level. Unlike a curve like 3D6. So it's rather interesting. Recommend anydice.com if you ever want to see the graphs of anything you want to output for dice. But it's interesting to see like the design philosophy behind using a trapezoid rather than a bell curve.
100%. Yeah.
All right. So that is that. Okay. So key thing to remember is guard is how you are going to avoid damage. All right. Armor is how you absorb damage.
So guard
whenever we-
first, then armor, right?
So it's actually armor first. So
Armor first.
someone hits you and does damage. You're going to take it. You're going to look at all of your armor pieces and add them up. I believe the maximum is like 3 or 4, and subtract damage from that. Then the rest is applied to your guard. And then if your guard goes down to 0, it starts going away from your vigor. Okay. Similar to all Odd-like games, though. However, we just saw this recently when Matt did his run of Cairn, that if your guard hits exactly 0, doesn't take you into your vigor, then you get to roll on a scars table, in which usually bad things happen, but also sometimes some good things can happen. And it's always a fun table to roll on, but it's only if you ever hit 0 exactly. And then vigor, of course, is equivalent to like D&D or Cairn strength. It's how much damage you actually can take, like actual physical damage. So if you take damage that takes your vigor down to 0, you die. However, if you suffer vigor loss, which is different than damage, you don't necessarily die. I can't remember exactly how that works, but just be aware that virtue loss is on page 9. So at Vig 0, you are exhausted and cannot attack if you have moved this turn. But that's only if you suffer Vig 0. If you suffer virtue loss of vigor versus damage to your vigor. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We're probably going to have to remember that whenever it comes up. But
Yeah, that'll definitely be a thing.
yeah. Okay. So glory which is the sort of the levels of the game, sorta abstractly. How do you gain it? So you are always seeking glory in hopes that one day you may be deemed worthy of the city quest. You will be deemed worthy by the powers that be, whatever those powers are, whenever you achieve 12 glory, which is very, very difficult. That's when you become a knight radiant. So how do you get glory? You get glory mostly through the myths. So when a group feels that a myth has been resolved, reaching a conclusion of any type, all knights who played a part in that myth gain 1 glory. This is really, really interesting. I've heard a lot of the people on podcasts and blogs talk about this. Is like, that's very loosey-goosey, right? When you feel that a myth has been resolved, reaching a conclusion of any type, right? So what does that mean? I think it's really cool because it's obviously deliberately on Chris's part to say that you have to determine as a group what that means. We have to discuss amongst each other. And I'm also involved in this conversation. Do we actually think that you resolved this myth? Did you do enough in your encounters with the myth to actually consider it to be resolved? In which case you would gain glory.
This sounds like me and Mike arguing at the end of every juncture that he's like, we've done it. And I'm like, no, we haven't. No, it hasn't been resolved. It has been resolved, David.
Yeah.
One more thing.
But the key thing too is always that sort of that confusion about, are we actually dealing with a myth, or are we chasing down something that we're not supposed to be chasing down? Right. And the myths can vary widely in the way that they manifest. Some are ancient mythical creatures, right, that maybe are to be fought, but some are abstract notions. Some are very weird and like completely impregnable. So what does it mean to resolve these things? Like just the word resolve is so wide open. So I think it's going to be really cool because obviously I always tend to favor the players if it comes to a question of it. I don't like wheedling, but I think it should be fairly. It should be. I think it should be a fun discussion to have, and it should be very clear whether or not glory is something that should be awarded, because we should think of it not only as just like a number that's given, like XP. It's not like that. It's glory. It's actual glory. Did you achieve glory in the world? Right? Is what you did actually something that is worthy of renown? Then you get it. Right?
I think this also ties into. I want to hear you too, Ted. I'll be very brief. The themes you were talking about earlier and sort of the frictions, the contradictions of office and whatever, et cetera, right? Mm-hmm. Tying into the dialectic of, do we think that we've achieved glory, and what does glory mean? All I'm saying is it's a very interesting prompt. It's open-ended.
Very open.
Ted, what were you going to say?
Well, and to actually end up riffing on that, the spoilers for the Green Knight here. If you haven't watched it, pause now, go watch it, come back. Okay, now you're back. Thank you. He runs away from the Green Knight. He returns to Camelot, whatever it is, piled with glory, et cetera, et cetera. He has not, in fact, completed that quest. He has not resolved
That's a good point.
The Green Knight.
Yeah.
But he does gain glory. So I think that's interesting. But I have a question for John. So the one time I played this, we fought some, I don't remember, bandits or something on the road. Like I didn't really get to interact with myths in the one time we played this. So I'm a little fuzzy.
Those bandits were actually a myth.
Oh, they didn't exist.
See? This is how good I am, baby.
I'm super confused about myths.
Hey, Ted, just to clarify, that Canadian girlfriend from your high school years, also a myth.
Damn.
Mine wasn't.
Yeah, but I was heaped with glory for that, so I feel it resolved well. I don't know what to tell you.
What was your?
And therein lies the joke. It becomes a cipher,
Oh my God. I mean, obviously, like the questing beast is a myth. The Holy Grail is a myth. The Green Knight is a myth.
Mm-hmm.
Snipe hunt.
Snipe hunting is totally a myth. I'm not clear on. I mean, like, are we just? I'll be blunt. Are we supposed to sort of wander around the realm and look for weird shit and interact with it?
Yes.
Is that basically okay?
But when you're not clear about what to do, look to the oaths. Right. Mm-hmm. If you don't have the answers to which you seek, find a seer.
Right.
Right.
Ted, I'll give you a big spoiler. The city It's a metaphor. The last realization of this end game is we all smoked too much weed in Dave Arneson's basement. And we come out of it and go, oh my God, what have I been doing this whole time?
The other thing too is that the evolving narrative is going to give you direction as well, but don't expect it to be handed to you, right? Because we're not playing shitty games. We're playing a cool game.
Yeah.
In which case you have to like work towards setting up your own goals. But I would just default to like your knowledge of knights, not so much in a historical context, but more of like in the mythic context like King Arthur. So like for instance, like Gawain was in the movie, it happened suddenly, of course, but he got knighted immediately. Well, he already was a knight, right? And then he wanted to prove himself, so he goes on this quest. But he served a king, right? Whenever you enter this realm, you don't serve a king, but there is someone who's sitting in the seat of power, right?
Right.
One of your oaths is to protect the realm. That's likely, hopefully, maybe not though, the goal of the person who's sitting on the seat of power. Maybe it might be a good idea to find out. Right?
So deposition of a false king is protecting the realm in a hypothetical.
It could be. You don't know. You have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about this actually as John's been talking and thinking about how, I mean, the realm is, and the king is the land and the land is the king. And also, so there's no separating the state from the land in one sense, but there's also like the realm is this region, these people, these trees and rivers and fish and birds and everything. Mm-hmm. And if the king is the land, it doesn't really matter who that man is, whether he's venal or brave or honest or whatever. It matters that we are protecting the realm, and you know, the state follows in a sense.
Yes,
in the very most like ancient Saxon kind of thinking about land and the myths.
You're making an assumption about the connection between the king and the land, but that assumption is largely true. You're basing that upon King Arthurian myths. I am actually keeping that is not default in Mythic Bastionland, but I am drawing upon that for my own particular realm. But there's no way that you would have known that. But just be aware that it may not necessarily be a king, for one thing, and it may not track exactly along the same lines of King Arthur's connection to the land. You will find out very soon about what that all means. But it's definitely something to explore. Yes,
more of a Myths of Avalon kind of thing.
But some knights may determine that what protecting the realm means is to serve the just ruler of that realm as the person who is most able to protect it, right? And that you would act as their solid right hand, that sort of thing, right? Others may deem that the ruler is not worthy and that you have to take it upon yourself, right? So that's the deal. Other means of gaining glory, though, other than through the myths, which is the primary way, is a public duel or joust. So you can actually stake glory against a willing opponent, and the victor will lose. The victor will gain one glory, the loser will lose one glory. So this is very typical of the media, right? And the myths is, trial by combat sort of thing. Tournaments gain glory to the winning knight. As they say in the book here, provided there are significant spectators in spectacle. So it's got to be a big deal witnessed by a lot of people. And then similarly, if a battle is large enough to be remembered in history, all knights on the victorious side gain one glory. That's pretty cool. And then when the game moves to a new age, not a new season, but a new age. So when you become mature, all knights gain one glory through serving the realm and maneuvering in court. Right. So that's actually a decent impetus to be like, I'm okay with actually going to a new age because you get a glory for doing so, just a freebie, just for getting older. Right. So that's the way that you gain glory.
Yeah, well, it's going to be interesting, I think, as we get to a point where, as we're progressing, just because different things will happen, say some of us, do a duel and others of us do not, we're going to have different levels of glory as we go through. And so somebody's going to reach that, hopefully we'll reach that, city-seeking level of glory before everybody else does. So I have to figure out then, these guys just, get left behind as I go and chop the final myth set off and take the glory,
Well, I mean, that's the end game is the city quest sort of thing. So I mean, we won't even look that far. But in the interim, though, in all those ranks in between, if you say you guys sort of separate out a bit with different amounts of glory, the domain management aspect of the game that sort of enters into play can affect that. So someone with the highest glory, maybe they become like the ruler or steward of a holding. And the other knights take on the roles of like the seneschal or the marshal or the reeve or something like that, right? You could do it that way as well, right? This is all built into the game, into the domain rules. So I'm looking forward to interacting with that as well. Something that has always been there in old school D&D, but we've never really dived into. We did a little bit of it in Arden Vool, but I think that would be really cool to do a little Crusader Kings action. But we'll see what happens. Okay, so I'm not going to go into the combat system here. We'll do that, I think, whenever we actually enter into combat for the very first time. It is just enough, suffice to say that it is the standout feature amongst the mechanical aspects of this game. It is pretty cool, as we all kind of probably remember a little bit from Gary Connor, maybe our con experiences.
Yeah, I loved it.
Playing separately. It's really, really cool, really, really innovative. It has a lot of tactical weight to it, despite how light it is in form. So that should be pretty fun to see. And then the way in which you recover virtues is also a really fun mechanical thing. Really, what's it called? Pushes you to interact with the world diegetically, to try to find ways to regain your virtue, and the assumption is that you will lose your virtue quite frequently, so that you will be forced to explore and journey in order to find remedies in order to bring your virtues up. Like, if for no other reason to explore, just getting your stats back up. It's sort of like in Dolmenwood, where it's like, I'm always hurt, I need to go to a settlement in order to heal, and so that drives you to a settlement to have further adventures, right? That sort of thing. So I love that.
So it's like the fourth oath.
Yeah.
Fix thy stats.
Yeah, fix thy stats, exactly. Yeah. So that's it for the characters. I think I like the group. How do you guys feel about this foursome?
I love it.
Is there so John, is there a way to increase your virtues over their current maximums?
Yes, as you gain as the ages turn, you will re-roll, and if your higher roll exceeds the old one, then you will gain that new roll. And then I believe on the scars table is there something there is in some of his other games. I think you can raise your guard up a little bit. Yeah, I think your guard can be raised on some of the entries on the scar table. But again, Mike, I know it's not your thing, but if you're looking for ways to make your character more awesome, they're just not there mechanically. I mean, what you are,
I'm awesome.
What you're given immediately is an awesome character. Right. You're not a zero going to a hero like you are in old school D&D. It's like you're pretty fucking tits money. You're like right out the gate. So,
okay.
It's money.
I don't know. Clarity 4 doesn't feel very tits or money.
Well, you can't have everything.
You know what?
Why not? The other guy's got everything except for mine.
Hey, Ted, look, as the person who rolled the best, I can tell you, it's really all about accepting yourself. Okay?
Yeah.
As you are.
Funny how that works.
I'm actually in really good shape, Ted, because while I may only have a clarity of 3, my horse, which I just named Bahioke. It's Irish, whatever. Yeah. He's got a clarity of 5, so I just have to listen to him.
You know what? I have in the same boat. Like, I named my horse Big Spruce. What would you do, Big Spruce?
Big Spruce is great. That's great.
Giving your horse's personality. Like, I love what you guys have done with Truffle and Dolmenwood. Actually, with any of like the mounts and stuff like that you've had in these campaigns have always been good, but you definitely want to lean into that here. Horses are, of course, extremely valuable, are oftentimes your lone companion sometimes, and so they mean everything to you. So definitely lean into like the little brief descriptors and the stat array that they are given and track it. They're very valuable.
I got it.
Okay, so let's do the very first scene of session 0 of the new campaign, right. which I'm calling the Accolades. Right, the Accolade was the actual rite of passage, which was bestowed upon a squire before they became a knight. It was actually the knighting ceremony historically. So this is going to be your knighting ceremony. So in faraway realms, Beyond the horizon, wise and inscrutable seers summoned 4 squires individually to their hoary sanctums. The eve prior, you all spent in the traditional vigil of arms, and now you all kneel before your individual seers, head bowed. So you are not together. You are all in distant realms. You did not know each other at all. And the circumstances, but it is, you don't know it, but we all can kind of see from above that this is all happening simultaneously in time. The seers know this, but you don't. All right. So, for instance, the squire who's about to become the mirror knight is being held gently, cupped in the hand of the giant seer, as she sort of raises him up close to her looming face. The bloody knight, the squire, I should say, the bloody squire, sort of wades slowly into the reeds as the reed seer sort of appears and does an Apocalypse Now Martin Sheen, sort of raises up out of the water to greet the squire. Let's see, the Dove Knight, because it is the closest seer. You're out in the glorious sunlit field, and you gaze upon the sun, which no one else can gaze upon, but you stare boldly into it, and you see the face of your seer who speaks to you. And the Iron Knight, what did your guy look like? I can't remember now.
Really, really handsome and cool. Oh, my seer?
Yeah, that was
my
the celebrated
seer. Celebrating seer, yeah.
God, my PDF is just wonking on me here.
Clad in a coat of shining metal masks, each in an expression of joy.
That's very cool. Give me 1 second here. My computer's having real issues here.
I'm pretty sure DD Dice is causing a memory leak, John. So if you close it, I think
I know I'm doing that right now.
Because it was an issue for us.
Right. Clad in a coat of shining metal masks, each an expression of joy. Yeah. I like that. So my vision of them is sort of that there is no actual head that you can focus on. It's just like a mound, like a humanoid mound of faces, all kind of gleefully staring at you and all speaking at the same time. And it's just like this weird, almost off-putting positive energy that's sort of coming off of them, even more intense now that because they're actually going to perform the accolade upon you. So we're going to go around the horn, starting with Mike. So yeah, Mike, you are wading into the waters. The reed seer sort of pokes only their head and shoulders above the water, sodden, and says, strong of character, redoubtable in virtue, rooted in the world, you are deemed worthy of knighthood. Squire, swear unto me the oaths that bind.
All right. I pull out my long axe and I kiss the blade. I kneel, pull out my axe, kiss the blade, and I say, I, Sir Malachi, the Bloody Knight, swear to seek the myths, honor the seers, and protect the realm.
So it is sworn by the city that promises and the worm that reigns eternal. I see you in W Knight. Rise, sir, and name yourself.
Oh, I'm Sir Malachi, the Bloody Knight. I just fucked that up. Sorry.
That's all right. Okay. You are now knighted. You are Malachi, the Bloody Knight. The giant seer holds the young mirror squire close to its face. Strong of character, redoubtable in virtue, rooted in the world, you are deemed worthy of knighthood, squire. Swear unto me the oaths that bind.
You're doing a really good job, by the way. You're killing this. It's a part of my seer thing. I'm not saying that to John. I'm saying that to them.
Oh.
My seer wants to be told she's a good seer. You're killing this. I swear to seek the myths, honor the seers. That's you. And protect the realm.
So it is sworn by the city that promises and the worm that reigns eternal. I see you in W Knight. Rise, sir, and name yourself.
I am Sir Meridian
the
Mirror Knight.
There we go. Okay. Meridian, the Mirror Knight. Okay. Matt. The smiling faces gaze upon you, and all speak in unison, in a cheery, happy voice. Strong of character, redoubtable in virtue, rooted in the world, you are deemed worthy of knighthood. Squire, swear unto us the oaths that bind.
O Seer, I accept this honor. I, Sir Brunor the Black, swear to seek the myths, honor the Seers, and protect the realm.
So it is sworn by the city that promises and the worm that reigns eternal. I see you in W Night. You have already named yourself, but you may rise. Sir Bruno?
Sir Brunor the Black.
Hey, John, you chose to play with
Iron
us.
Knight.
I asked for so little. Sir Brunor. Okay. Ted, you can redeem us all here.
I'm going to try. Thank you.
I believe you can.
All right, I got it.
All right, Ted. The sun shines down upon you in this golden field as you gaze wide-eyed upon it, casting a long shadow. Strong of character, redoubtable in virtue, rooted in the world, you are deemed worthy of knighthood. Squire, swear unto me the oaths that bind.
I draw my sword and kneel in my winged armor. The wings flare out to either side as I bow low, the white feathers gleaming in the sun. I swear to seek the myths, to honor the seers, and protect the realm.
So it is sworn. By the city that promises and the worm that reigns eternal, I see you in W Night. Rise, sir, and name yourself.
I am Sir Aurelius, the Dove Knight.
Aurelius. Like Marcus Aurelius?
Yes.
Love it. Okay. As you are all officially knights and named in separate places in different realms across the world, who knows where, all the seers, if we were watching the movie, all the seers intone the same verse at the same time in their own voices and in their own way. And they send you on your way with this. With companions 3, you will adventure a sea to a realm in the throes of decay. A queen empty of sight, once lauded, now a plight, on a carpeted throne, all affray. In name only she reigns, for her knighted guard feigns to hold her best interests at heart. For by whim and by chance, the great Adamant Expanse now calls for true knights to take part. In the fields and the folds, atop lofty peaks cold, the myths are proven to be true. Of a watcher 'gainst seers, of howls crying drear, of evil that remains born anew. All these and more beset the far shores, so hold to your oaths and quest long, for the city awaits. Behold its pale gates, and his majesty the worm breathes your song. And they send you on your way. And at some point on your journeys from all the cardinal directions, you end up meeting up together and understanding that you are all part of this company as you enter the realm of the Adamant Expanse. And that's where we start with episode 1. Sound good?
I love
Sounds
it.
awesome.
That's so cool.
Super cool.
Now that I've got my henchman, I'm ready to go kick ass.
Oh, boy.
I thought we agreed you'd stop calling Ted your henchman.
Got the rope
Main
right.
character syndrome.
All right, so
I'm
next
not-
session for episode 1, we will set the scene for like what season it is, where exactly you're going to be starting in the realm, and we will actually begin the procedures of play, and we will see what happens. And there will also be I'm going to impart upon you a couple of things that the seers are going to tell you about the Adamant Expanse. There are going to be 6 things that are known to you about this realm. It's a little bit to go on. Okay.
Oof.
All right. Feel good? Sound good? Excited?
Yeah, this is great.
Love it.
All right.
Very
cool.
excited.
All right. So I think that will do it for session 0 of Mythic Bastionland the Adamant Expanse. We're excited to get this new campaign started. Thank you to all of you who have stayed and watched or listened this long. We really do appreciate it. Don't forget to check out all of our other material. And if you want access to our Return to Dolmenwood campaign, make sure you sign up for that Patreon. Otherwise, come chat with us on our Discord server. It is free to join, and we have a wonderful community there. So please do that. And otherwise, don't forget to like and subscribe. Super key. All right. As we always do, we want to give thanks out to our community, and especially our patron subscribers, those of our different tiers, our explorers, our delvers, and of course, especially our conquerors. Our conquerors get the distinct honor of having their names read aloud at the end of every episode. And Ted has the distinct pleasure tonight of reading those names aloud. Take it away, Ted.
The Dove Knight will be reading those aloud. So, hi, everybody. Conquerors. Black Knife Media, Noah Green, Chad Versluis, Phytobot, Eric Leander, Chris McDowall, Dapper Dinosaur, Berwin, Glintwine, Incunabuli.
That's what I go.
I'm not sure. Scoom, Lucifer, Chris Ackroyd, Jaron Goodman, 3C_273, Evan Leroy, Native Erection, Adam McKinney, Iohet, Heath Gordon, Soul Slur, Ryan Gunter, Chris Harvey, Bren Kneecleaver. Kneecleaver would be a good nightly name too, I think. Sorcerius, Chris Milan DM, Crayon Box, Oxian, Erica, Onion Farmer from High Hinkle, Awkward Silence, Mike Butts, Ye Holy Order of Old Dirty Clergy for Biggest Stickus on a Crucifixus, Blessed be our well-hung Lord.
Damn.
John Musek, Eric Mader, Sophia Pang, Mark Dyson, Carl Stephenson, Necrotic Gnome, Derek B., Eric Manley, Iron Fox Gaming, Jeff, Jofo, Brutes Monkeys, The Mighty Martian, Noah, AJ, oh boy, Sudden Scatological Stunlock. Followed closely by Just Mike, Adam Lovelace, Brett Sullivan, Grizz Loves Goblianos, yeah, Dustin Reedy, Chris Rowe, Benjamin, Steve of Bill and Steve, King of Jupes, MP, Todd, Steve, Jeff Marino, Robert Kirkland, Eric Tsunami MD, Yesterday's Glory, Richard Barton, Christian Carter, James, Chris Loricella, John Hooker, Mordrew, Zachary Hall, Saps, Papa Bear DM, Zach Shiflett, Between Two Davids, Procyon, Dakota Nielsen, Cam, Stephen Quisenberry, John and La Logan, Kabrowskis, Phil, Rocket Frog Eric, Nick, Jeff Zizmansky, Eric Lawson, Mando NZ, Jimbo WA, Ted Gast. Do worms dream of paralyzed Bregel? Andrew Schroker, Jason Jones, MM, Michael Schilling, Stefano Di Maiolo, Chongus, Hex Brawler Josh is here for Ribblemead's goats. Arno, Iona, Mother of Romulus, Han Dandler, Sean Ellis, Summon Toast, Too Rude, Too Ishvan, Dungeon Heart Adam, Scott Yearsley, Kick Maniac, Dire Grew, Tom Eric Gerritsen, and the Mats. Matthew Mattis, Mads the Danish Matt, Matt Dwarfs Better Than Mike, Matt Mason, Matt Koenig, and Matt Young. But wait, that's right, there's more. It is time that we all declare the accolades. And the accolades are hereby declared for these fine and brave and virtuous knights. Saturday Night Live, Sir Reluctant Knightsy, One Night in Bangkok, the Vintage Dwarf Porn Appreciation Night, the boys pull an all-nighter, even Ted, the Night at the Roxbury, A Hard Day's Night, Z Billy Rubin Night, Bob Seeger's Night Moves, Boogie Night, the Hot Dog Night of the 7-Eleven Rolling Table, Desiree Night in White Satin Marcel, the Bodacious Knight of Braggadocio and his Mystic Magic Banjo Band, Lee Dog Night, Tucker Kid Good Night. Nice. It's now time for the Knights. The Mercurial Night, Matt Knight Industries 2000 Walsh, the Bruise Night, It Was a Dark and Stormy Night, the Ash Night, the Sunscarred Night, and A night to remember. The accolades have thus been declared.
Nicely done, Conquerors. Nicely done. Well organized, well executed. All right. So we have a very large company of knights. It's not just 4. There's a lot. But
I want to roll on this table sometime.
Yeah, for real. One of these guys.
I want to be the knight in white satin. That's awesome.
Anyways, excellently done. And thank you to all of our Conquerors and, of course, all of our supporters as well. Thank you very, very much. We really do appreciate it. We're looking very forward to this new campaign, and we will see you next time for episode 1. Until then, have a great night. Take care, everybody. Bye.
Yeah. Thank you, John.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, John.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
John.
John.